Alright, so we're back in the world of the First Berserker Khazan, and today I want to give you guys my updated spear build that I'm using to progress through the game. I'm not exactly at the very end game, but I'm getting close to the end, beat a lot of the bosses, and just kind of want to give you an update so you can maybe have a little bit more direction on how the build is going to go. We've improved our armor pretty vastly, as well as made our stamina way more efficient, and overall I just feel like the build is in a much better place, so I just wanted to showcase it to you. Let's go ahead and dive into the build. Alright, so now that the intro's out of the way, let's go over the build, and at the end I will have a showcase with this build going up against one of the bosses, the tiger guy. I think it was my second pull or something, but anyway, we'll go over that at the end. But yeah, let's go over the pieces and the changes that we've done with this build. So as you can probably tell, we've invested into the Fallen Lord set. I specifically thought the Fallen Lord set would be better compared to the other set because I tend to I've been actively starting to chain Full Moon a lot more in between my Swift attacks. I should be doing it a lot better, but I still do it. And basically this really builds into the charged attack stance with Full Moon, and I think it works really well. Anyway, so as you can see here, with two pieces we'll get charged attack damage, which Full Moon we're almost always charge attacking. Whenever you get the three piece, you're going to get brink dodge. Whenever you do it, it's going to give you stamina recovery rate for 10 seconds by 25%, which is a pretty massive amount of stamina recovery, and it makes it easier for you to just sustain fighting. Whenever you have the four piece, you're going to make it so you deal more damage whenever enemies become exhausted, which we're always exhausting them because that's the nature of the build. 5 piece, we're gonna get Full Moon damage, and this is just your charge thing under the Swift tree, which will give you 15% increased damage. And then when you get the 6 piece, you will get Spiral Thrust damage increase. I don't use that as much as I probably should, but I do use a lot of the Full Moon. But either way, you can use both of them. They charge up and you'll get like extra damage, and that's kind of the core purpose of them. There's two ways that you can actually get this gear. If you come to Pale Lotus Plateau or Pale Lost Plateau, I don't know why I said that, but Nade Inquiry, and you do the Human Silence main cavern stairway mission, you'll face off against Layden or Zayden or something like that. It's just a Viper variant, and essentially you can face off against him and he will drop you this gear as well as the other set. If you want to do the Fallen set, he actually drops that one as well, and then he will drop the hoofs that you need to craft, or whatever his like boss materials, he'll drop that as well. So you can farm that if you feel like your build is strong enough. As long as you have like a minion with you, one of the ghosts, is very easy because he's like half distracting. You're just trying to be as farm efficient as possible, so you can do that. Otherwise, you can come to the Silent Temple here and do Kalado, and then just come here to the to one of the locations. This is as you're progressing through, and over here to the left there'll be a little ladder that'll help you down, and then you will be able to pick up the recipe. In order to get these missions, you just need to speak to Oksana. She'll basically give you the mission, so that's how you would farm that recipe specifically. For our accessories, we're going to be using the Bishop set. The reason for this is whenever we brink dodge, we do stamina damage increase for 10 seconds, which again synergizes with what we're trying to accomplish, which is exhaust, be evasive, and kind of deal some pretty good damage. If you have any suggestions on jewelry pieces, feel free to leave it down in the comments. I'm always open to making some changes, but I found this to be the best with my current setup. In terms of the affixes that we're using on the gear, of course, if you are getting the purple tier, which I'm just starting to get, as you can see here, which we're going to do our last build with the purple or whatever the highest tier. I don't know what the highest tier is in this game. Yeah, what we're using on this is max stamina and stamina recovery. You can opt to go with damage on that second stamina recovery if you don't want it. I just like having a lot of recovery so I can continue to hit. On the helmet we put max stamina as well as damage increase. On the chest we put max health as well as stamina. You can put defense there if you want. I like stamina, but again, and I want to be clear, you can kind of do whatever you want for your build. It's your build. I'm just giving you the blueprint, right? So always remember that it's not like set in stone. You have to do this. You can just maneuver it and change it for whatever works for you. But yeah, you can go stamina, you can go health, you can go defense. I feel like those are decent stats. For our hands, we're going attack damage, flat attack damage, and then maximum stamina. For our legs, we're going maximum stamina and flat HP, which again, I think is pretty decent. You can go defense there too, I think. For our boots, we're going max stamina as well as stamina damage increase on swift attacks, because I really like the swift attack damage decrease. I think it's really useful to the build. But yeah, it really helps with the exhaust energies in my opinion. Now on these pieces, we have stamina, max HP on the necklace, and we have percent damage increase as well as max stamina on our ring, and we have some pretty sizable stamina as well as decent HP because this armor set is pretty heavy in general. So that's kind of what we're rocking with. Keep in mind, if you're like level 82 like I am, you would probably have way better stats. And then if you have, obviously, if you have like the pink tier, you'll have even more stats. So yeah, this is just a pretty good baseline, I think, and so far I'm pretty much had a pretty easy time progressing through the game. Going over the skill tree, as you probably could tell, we filled out a lot more things here, but we'll go over from left to right. Of course, we got all the swiftness attack stuff for the Moonlight Stance. I'll do a brief recap, nothing too crazy because I'm sure you guys understand most of the abilities. Moonlight Stance is just going to give you after image after you do the third attack, which will do more damage to basically stamina. That's the core purpose of Moonlight. We take Vitality, which is going to increase the recovery rate. Then we're going to take this one, which is going to do whenever you brink dodge and or brink guard, you'll get duration increase on your Moonlight. So just doing the things you're already going to do is going to just give you more duration on this, which is big. On the left side, all this does is it gives you the ability to dodge a little bit more, and then whenever you're dodging, you'll get more damage in the like you'll deal damage to the enemies as you pass through them. So it just gives you extra damage, things like that. And this one will give you more vulnerability frame, which is actually pretty noticeable. Now in previous videos we did full moon, only grabbed 1 point of this purely because we wanted to get Crimson Strike, which will give you a bigger exhaust, what was it called, like a poise strike damage whenever you're in a full moon state, which you should be in all times. And then of course we're taking Wrath because this is just going to give you more damage proportional to the amount of time left in the full moon stance. Basically this time what we're doing differently is we're maxing full moon because full moon is pretty solid damage, pretty solid AoE, and it has some really solid poise that's going to actually do some decent stuff to help you out. Now before I wasn't really utilizing this, and admittedly I still don't use it as much as I probably should be, but this is actually a really solid skill that you should be using. And seeing that your set actually enhances this by 15%, you actually do some chunky damage with it. It's a really solid skill you should be using way more than I use it. Under the Potent Blow tree, we're getting after Mistrust. I talked about this one briefly in the last one. We're putting more effort into this one. I just like this as a follow-up, and it just drains stamina really well, so I would utilize it personally. Under Chain we have Chaser, which is going to give you more stamina cost reduction when enemies are exhausted, and then Devour is going to give you Spirit when enemies exhausted, and since we exhaust a lot, that's kind of what we do. Over here in Shrewd, we've taken a lot more things than previously. Quick Slash, of course, to do the follow-up. Vitality Strike whenever you do the like running attack. This is just a good initiation tool in my opinion. And then this one is going to deal more damage when you do weak point, when you hit it with the weak point rather, and I think that's really nice. Agility is going to give us more dodge stamina reduction, so we're not spending too much stamina on dodge. And then one thing I've introduced a lot of is Crescent Strike, as well as the follow-up Crescent Strike Massacre. And what this does is it just does this huge overarching attack that has a follow-up that does some cleave to it. So I really like this skill because it just helps out with clear, and I think it chains really well, and this is a lot of stagger, so it's pretty big in my opinion. Over under Guard, we're taking Breakdown and we're taking Endurance because I like brink dodging and stuff, but sometimes I do feel more comfortable blocking and stuff like that. Under Common, I take everything under Resources. Basically, anytime you do anything, take damage, deal damage, evade, brink guard, and interact with La Crema, you will get Spirit. Under our stats, we're doing a little bit of a mixture here, and I'll explain why I'm doing what I'm doing, but yeah, anyway. We have 30 in Vitality. I feel like 30 Vitality is pretty solid because I don't want to die. And I do take some hits because I'm bad. So having some health helps. And then weight is kind of important because this is a heavy armor set. And I felt this was good to get some resistances as well as some weight so we can carry some stuff. So that's why we have 30 here. For Endurance, pretty self-explanatory. This is just going to give us a ton of stamina, not a ton, but a good amount of stamina, which is important. 25 in Strength. This was the combination of just weight situation because again the armor is really heavy. It's a heavy armor set, so you do need some form of weight. And I felt investing in strength giving us damage is pretty decent. We got 10 in willpower, and then we put 46 into proficiency, because proficiency is our main damage scaler. It's going to give us HP, it's going to give us stamina, damage, and other things like that. That's going to give us like efficiency. But yeah, that's the core concept of it. I know the spread is a little weird. We may refine it and change it a bit, but I feel pretty confident this is a pretty good spread. We'll probably get proficiency more points, maybe even invest a few points more in endurance, but for the most part, I'm feeling comfortable and confident in this spread right now. Besides that, that's pretty much it for the build. As I said at the end, I'll show you one of the fights with the I don't know, the tiger guy with the plague stuff. I fought him like once or twice in that fight. So yeah, I got hit a lot, but nonetheless, it'll still be a good showcase. I'm not trying to be perfect. It is what it is. Anyway, if the video helped you out, leave me a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one very soon.